Hey guys, it's good to see you again. What we're going to do in this tutorial is set up 3 light sources for portrait photography. And instead of using a professional grade DSLR to take the photos, we will be using an iPhone. To take a professional style photo, we are going to use the application VSCO. This application can be found in the Apple App Store, also in the Google Play Store. My assistant Ebony will help with the light setup and will be our subject. Let's begin. The major light sources that we are using are our main light, our fill light, and our accent light. We have placed these light sources strategically around the room. Here's a diagram of where the lights are in relation to our subject and our camera. Now each light has a function of its own. For starters, the main light is the light that lights the majority of the subject and is usually the brightest light. The fill light fills in any shadows left behind from our main light and is usually farthest away from the subject. This light is not as bright as our main light. Lastly, the accent light. The accent light is usually placed behind, above, to the sides, or below the subject. Its duty is to separate the subject from the background. Let's take a look at our iPhone here to see how each light is affecting our subject. I have the application VSCO open with Ebony as our subject. Let's cut on the main light to see how it is affecting our subject's features. Before we are fully engaged in using the application VSCO, I would like to take a brief moment to explain the icons that I normally use within the application. First is the sun icon. The sun icon is equivalent to the aperture setting on a professional grade DSLR. It controls how much light is exposed to our subject through the iPhone's lens. The next icon is the ISO icon. It measures the sensitivity of the image sensor within the iPhone. A rule of thumb is the lower the ISO, the sharper your image will be. The last icon that I use is the shutter speed icon. The shutter speed indicates how fast your shutter will react when taking a photo. The faster and higher the shutter speed, the darker your image will be. The slower your shutter speed, the brighter your image will be. These 3 icons, the aperture, the ISO, the shutter speed, make up what we call the exposure triangle and are essential to taking a professional photo. Now that we have covered the basics, let's begin taking some photos of our subject. To begin, I focus on the subject by gently tapping on the screen of where I would like to focus. I then proceed to selecting the icons of the exposure triangle. I tap the sun icon, which allows me to change the aperture. I change the aperture to my liking, then move to the ISO icon. The lower the ISO, the more detail the camera is able to pick up in your portrait. I also lower it to my liking. The last icon is the shutter speed control. I change the shutter speed to my liking as well. Now that I'm finished with the exposure triangle, I can take a photo. We have tried this setup with 1 light source. Let's now try with 2 and check out our results. Select the sun icon and change to your liking. Next, we move to the ISO icon and finally the shutter speed. Now that we have taken a portrait with the main light and the fill light, let's turn on the 3rd light, the accent light, and conduct the exposure triangle. Select the sun icon and change to your liking. Then we should move to the ISO icon and then finally the shutter speed. Now that we have finished taking 3 photos with multiple light sources, let's take a quick look to see which one is the best. Wow, we really took some great photos using 3 major light sources. I have a few special tips that will help improve your photos even more and help your subjects feel more comfortable. Tip number 1, have your subject look towards the main light. It does wonders when defining their features. Tip number 2, have your subject look away from the camera. This method helps ease intimidation of the camera. And tip number 3, try to capture the candid moments. Photos like these have the most energy in life. That's it for this tutorial. We hope that you learned something about photography, and we hope to see you all on our next tutorial on how to take a professional portrait using natural daylight with your iPhone. See you soon.